Many women think that complimenting a man is always a good idea. But what I'm about to tell you might shock you. Some compliments, instead of bringing him closer, create an invisible barrier that pushes him away without you even realizing it. And the worst part? You might be making this mistake right now. What almost no one knows is that there are 3 forbidden compliments that trigger such a strong emotional desire that he'll start seeing you in a completely different way. And the most interesting part, the 3rd compliment on the list is the most powerful, yet almost no one uses it correctly. Have you ever been in a situation where everything seemed perfect, and suddenly he started pulling away for no apparent reason? What most people don't realize is that there's a pattern behind this behavior, and it starts with the words "you choose." That's exactly what happened to a friend of mine. She met an amazing guy, the kind that seems straight out of a romantic movie. At first, everything was perfect. He sent sweet messages, gave her compliments, their dates had incredible chemistry. But after a while, he started replying less, became distant, and she had no idea why. Until one day, desperate, she sent me a voice message. What did I do wrong? He seemed so interested. And when I asked how she talked to him, I quickly realized the problem. She was giving him compliments that, instead of bringing them closer, were making the relationship feel dull. He no longer saw her as unique or special. Just like any other woman, without meaning to, she was extinguishing that spark without even noticing. Many of us believe that complimenting a man always works, right? After all, who doesn't like to feel appreciated? But some compliments simply don't move them. They're generic, lack emotion, and don't create that deep connection that makes a guy truly fall in love. When I realized this, it became clear that I needed to talk about it. Because if even my friend, an incredible woman, made this mistake without realizing it, how many others might be going through the same thing? And the worst part? Not understanding why men pull away even when everything seemed perfect. So, if you've ever been through this, share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way men see you. Have you ever noticed that some men get deeply involved, while others just lose interest out of nowhere? Many people assume it's because he didn't want anything serious, or that it just wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, the way you communicate can make all the difference between him wanting to stay or moving on. Small details that seem harmless can be crucial, but this isn't your fault or mine. The problem is that no one teaches us this. Since we were little, we learned to be kind, to show affection the way we'd like to receive it. But men operate differently. What makes their hearts race isn't the same thing that moves us. And many women, without realizing it, give compliments that mean nothing to them. Or worse, they put the relationship in a lukewarm zone, without excitement, without that spark. Now imagine you've met someone special. Everything seems to be going perfectly. But without realizing it, small, seemingly harmless words could be sabotaging this connection from the start. What I'm about to reveal could completely change the way he sees you. You want him to see how unique you are, right? But without realizing it, you might be saying things that make him feel the exact opposite. And when a man feels this way, he doesn't pull away because he wants to, but because something inside him tells him the connection isn't strong enough. So now I ask you, have you ever been through this? Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you tried, he just wouldn't get as emotionally involved as you wanted? If so, share in the comments. I want to understand how this happened to you. Because once you discover what truly makes a man feel emotionally connected, everything changes. We grow up hearing that men fall in love with looks, with a sweet personality, or even with physical chemistry. But if that were the case, why do so many of them pull away from incredible women who seem to have everything they want? There's a hidden reason, an emotional trigger that few people know about. And when activated, it makes him see you in a way no other woman ever has. The answer lies in a detail that almost no one notices. Men don't fall in love just with what they see or physically feel. They fall in love with how they feel about themselves when they're with a woman. This means that a man can be with the most beautiful woman in the world and still not feel that irresistible connection. But he can meet someone who triggers certain emotional cues and, without even realizing it, feel completely drawn in. And you know what's even more interesting? This has nothing to do with playing hard to get, acting indifferent, or following those outdated dating rules. It's something much more subtle and much more powerful. The way you communicate with him has a direct impact on how he perceives you. A random compliment can be forgotten in minutes, but when you use the right words, he feels something rare and addictive, a feeling that makes him want to be around you without even understanding why. And the craziest part? Most women have no idea this is happening. You might be wondering, but what are these words? How do I create this kind of connection? Well, there's a huge difference between generic compliments that just boost his ego and compliments that truly touch a man. And that's exactly what I'm about to share with you now. There's a very common mistake many women make when complimenting a man. They say obvious things, generic phrases that anyone could say. Wow, you're so handsome. I admire how smart you are. You're amazing. Sounds positive, right? But there's a problem. These compliments don't create an emotional impact. They're words he's heard so many times that they simply don't move him. And what happens in practice? He might smile and say thank you, but deep down, it doesn't really make a difference. Now, think about it. Have you ever received a compliment so meaningful that you kept thinking about it for days? Something that made you feel truly special? That's exactly what makes a man feel a unique connection. And contrary to what many people think, it's not about boosting his ego. It's about reaching a deeper level, his identity. Another classic mistake is overdoing compliments. Saying things like, "You're the most amazing man I've ever met," or "I don't know what I'd do without you," can actually push him away. That's because instead of creating an emotional bond, it can come across as needy or clingy. And when a man feels like he's being put on a pedestal, instead of getting closer, he might start distancing himself. The secret isn't just to compliment, it's to do it in a way that triggers the right instincts in him, the ones that make being with you feel unlike any other experience. So, if generic compliments don't work, and exaggerated ones can be overwhelming, what's the secret to creating this irresistible connection? There's a specific way to compliment a man that activates a side of him that few women know about. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you now. Now that we've covered what doesn't work, it's time to understand how to compliment a man the right way. The key is to highlight aspects of his personality that make him feel unique when he's with you. Men don't form emotional connections with empty compliments. What truly moves them is how those words make them see themselves. When a compliment triggers this feeling, he starts associating you with something special, something he can't find just anywhere. The first powerful compliment makes him feel like a protector. Men have a natural instinct to take care of those they value. So when you say something like, "I feel so safe when I'm with you," it activates this side of him in an irresistible way. But pay attention, be sincere. There's no point in forcing a compliment that doesn't reflect how you truly feel. The idea is to naturally show that his presence makes a difference in your life. The second compliment awakens that deep need to be admired for what makes him unique. Instead of just saying, "Wow, you're so smart," go beyond that and highlight how he thinks. Something like, "I love the way you see things. You always make me look at things from a perspective I'd never considered." This makes him feel truly seen. And that feeling of being noticed and valued creates a strong emotional bond. And finally, a compliment that touches his emotions without him even realizing it. "There's something about you that makes me want to be around you all the time." This phrase has a powerful effect because it doesn't give everything away at once. It creates a bit of mystery, makes him wonder what exactly draws you to him, and that curiosity keeps him interested. Now, how do you know if these compliments are really working? There's a clear way to tell. The best way to know if you're on the right track is by paying attention to his reactions. Men don't always express their feelings the way we do, but they do show when something truly moves them. If, after a compliment, he pauses before responding, smiles in a different way, or even repeats what you said, that's a great sign. It means your words triggered something in him. Another clear sign is when he starts getting closer to you. Does he reach out to you for no reason, text you out of the blue, or try to extend conversations? That happens because, without realizing it, he feels that being around you sparks something he doesn't want to lose. Unlike generic compliments, which go in one ear and out the other, these compliments create a lasting effect. He will associate you with positive and meaningful emotions, and that makes all the difference. Now, if none of this is happening, it could be that the compliments weren't delivered quite the right way yet. Maybe they sounded forced, or they were said at the wrong moment. The key is naturalness. When you compliment sincerely and in the right context, he feels that authenticity and the impact is much greater. He doesn't just hear the compliment, he experiences the emotion it creates. So, pay close attention to the signs. If he starts looking at you differently, wanting to be around you without you having to chase him, congratulations, you're doing it right. And now that you know how to create this special connection, there's something even more powerful that makes a man feel an almost instinctive need to be by your side. And that's what I want to tell you about next. There's something about the male mind that almost no one talks about. No matter how much a man likes you, if a certain emotional trigger isn't activated, he will never feel that genuine need to commit. But when this trigger is awakened, something shifts. Suddenly, he starts seeing you in a different way, as someone he simply doesn't want to lose. And the most interesting part? This happens without him even realizing why. Many times, a man can be interested, enjoy your company, and even show affection, but still, something inside holds him back. It's like there's an invisible barrier, something stopping him from fully giving himself to the relationship. It's not because he doesn't like you, or because the relationship doesn't have potential. The issue is that the key to unlocking his emotional side hasn't been turned yet. The truth is, there's a psychological mechanism in the male brain that, when activated, makes him see you as the most important woman in his life. And this isn't one of those superficial relationship tips. It has nothing to do with playing games or changing who you are. In fact, it's something so natural that when you understand how it works, it almost seems obvious. The problem is that hardly anyone teaches this the right way. If you want to understand exactly how this trigger works and how it can transform the way men connect with you, there's something special I want to show you. There's a hidden detail in the male mind that makes all the difference. And if you want to learn how to use it to your advantage, click the link in the first pinned comment. Oh, and if you enjoyed this video and want more tips like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll always get content that helps you understand men better and create real connections.